Hey everybody, hope you're good. My name is Abby. If you're new around here, welcome, and if you're not new, thank you so much for coming back to watch one of my videos. So today I thought it was time to start getting into a little bit of a different routine. So I wanted to do a powder foundation routine because it's something I honestly switched to during the summer months. Usually when it's quite hot, I try not to wear too much foundation or try to go without it completely. So I might just switch to concealer and powder, or just powder, or just concealer and just set it lightly. So I try to have fewer layers on my face during the hotter months. And I just think going to a powder foundation routine is the way to go. That's not to say I don't still love my foundation. I do, my liquid foundation that is, but sometimes I do just prefer a powder foundation because one, it's quicker to apply, and two, if you get it right, it looks a lot more natural, but you can still get that full coverage look. And it doesn't have to be cakey depending on the way you use it. So, and it also depends on the products you use as well. So there are a couple of products I have in my arsenal, my little makeup collection. So I do switch this up sometimes. So I will show you what I've been using most recently, or the powder foundation combination I tried most recently and I really liked it. So if you haven't seen any of my videos before, I do reviews, first impressions, foundation wear tests, skincare routines, that kind of thing. So all focusing on the more affordable side of beauty. Every now and then I do splurge on a few high-end products, but the majority of the products I focus on are affordable. I also do hair care, and I think that's about it actually. So yeah, so if you're into any of that, please do subscribe. So I am recording on my phone today. I thought I'd do a little experiment. I'm trying out a new app called, I think, Open Camera, I believe it's called. So hopefully it should work out. So let's just see how this goes. So if the quality looks a bit different, it's because I'm recording on my phone. I also think it's a lot more convenient. Yes, I don't have to have this massive setup, but let's see how this goes, and hopefully I remember to look at my camera and not at myself. Throwback to those early days when you're just starting off recording and you look in a different direction away from the camera. So the majority of the products, I think, if not, I think, yeah, nearly all the products I'm using today, so they are probably going to be under £10, I want to say. So yeah, the majority of the products I do use on my channel in my everyday life are definitely always affordable and mostly drugstore. So if you can't get them in the drugstore, you can get them online. So the first thing I wanted to go in with is my ordinary high adherence silicone primer. I haven't used this in a long while. It has a decent amount of wear, but the primer that I do stand for like all day every day is my tried and trusted W7 Prime Magic primer. It's a silicone based primer, dries clear, and it's a really good dupe for the Smashbox Photo Finish primer, the matte version. So it keeps me reasonably matte. All I've had on my face is my skincare, sunscreen, and now I'm just applying primer. So I just normally apply my primer to my T-zone really, because my skin type is normal to oily. So I get oily in my T-zone and I'm normal in the perimeter. This primer is pretty decent, I will say that, but it doesn't last like all day without getting oily. I think my face starts to get oily around the 5 to 6 hour mark, or sometimes even the 4 hour mark, like in a really hot weather. In really hot weather, maybe 3-4 hours before I have to blot. So yeah, it depends on the day. But it is a decent primer and it's pretty affordable. It is The Ordinary. Everything in their line, or at least most things in their line, are affordable. So I like to use it to blur my pores a little, but yeah. So I think with a primer like this, sometimes it can peel. I feel like it's kind of peeling on my jawline because of my sunscreen, which is a new sunscreen by the way. So that's probably the only thing that's different in my routine, but normally it doesn't peel. Yeah, it's usually fine. So if you find that it's peeling, just don't move it as much, just pat it in. Next I go in with concealer. Sometimes I don't even go in with concealer. So when I say a powder foundation routine is fast, it is pretty fast, because what I like to do is just to highlight my under eyes with my powder, rather than to go in with a concealer. So the concealer I'm going in with is my e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer in the shade Deep Olive. The shades in the hydrating concealer are pretty different from the matte version, just so you know. I did a video on this and I will link it in the cards. But it is a really good concealer, and it does dry down. So it does dry down. This shade is the shade, wait, what shade is this? Deep Olive. Ah, yeah, so this is a new shade. I haven't actually featured this on my channel, so I went back and I got the shade before Deep Olive, and I believe it's Deep Caramel. So because it's a lot lighter, or it's a little bit lighter, not a lot, and it's not as orange, because I remember the Deep Olive in the matte version being a bit more yellow. So if I'm in a hurry, I will blend out my concealer with my foundation brush, and let me just apply Deep Caramel to the center of my face. I'm just going over my blemishes really quickly with the shade Deep Olive. I'm then gonna go in with my Revolution Infinite Concealer from the Conceal and Define line in the shade C13.2, and this is what it looks like. And this is what it looks like. So it has a lot more coverage than the e.l.f. concealer, so I'm just gonna apply it a little bit more. Okay, so now we'll pretty much have my base covered. Usually I do my brows these days before I start my powder foundation routine rather. When I'm doing my liquid foundation routine, I tend to do my eyebrows before or after. Before, I think. Mostly I do my brows before actually, but these days I've been leaning towards doing my brows after. So the majority of my face is covered. You can barely see any of my blemishes. So next I will go in with a powder. I think I've only used this powder in my previous video, which was my Ankara inspired video. If you want to check that out, I'll link that in the cards as well. So this is a powder I have used a few times. I really like it. It's like medium to full or light, depending on how heavy handed you go, and depending obviously on your blemishes as well. So this is the NYX Hydra Touch powder foundation, and I really like it simply because it's not like a typical drying foundation. I have it in 3 shades. I basically ended up buying 3 different shades, which kind of defeats the purpose, I know, simply because you end up buying 3 rather than buying 1. If I had just, I don't know, done a bit more research before clicking buy. I ended up getting this, I think, for about $5.99 on Fragrance Direct, I believe, or somewhere, I can't remember, but I've had it for a while. It took me a long time to use it, and I thought, let me just see if it's any good. The interesting thing about these powders, I'll actually just show you. So this shade is the shade Sable. This is shade 13. This shade is Honey. It is pretty yellow based. And the 3rd shade is the shade Caramel, and that's what the shade. This is a bit more of a reddish. So the Sable, I believe, is a bit more, I don't know what to call it. Shall I say it's a bit more neutral or golden, slightly golden. So this is Sable. Let me see if I can hold it without dropping it. So this is, what is this? I'm confused. This is Sable. This is Caramel. So Sable and Caramel. Sable is number 13, caramel is 12, and side by side you can see caramel has a bit more warmth to it, and this is honey. So honey right off the bat looks really light, but the interesting thing about these foundations is that they swatch really dark, because I think they can. Oh yeah, so the reason I bought them is because they apparently can be used wet or dry. I've never been brave enough to use them wet. I don't even know how I would, but they can be used wet. But what I love about it is the finish and the fact that it has this interesting wet and dry technology going on. But I just use it as a typical foundation, so as a typical powder rather. So I use these 3 shades sometimes, and sometimes I will just use honey and sable. So honey is more golden yellow, sable is more, I want to say it's golden, because it's not, is it neutral? No, it's more golden. I don't know, I'm not a makeup artist. Is it golden or neutral? I honestly don't know. Maybe it's neutral. Let's go with neutral. This is more yellow. So between the two, I believe my foundation shade or my skin shade is in these two, somewhere between these 2 shades. Sometimes if I need more warmth, I will go in with the caramel, which is a bit more of a warm red toned powder. So I have talked too much. This is meant to be a very quick foundation routine, or powder routine, should I say. So once I've applied my concealer really quickly, I will then go in with the shade Honey. So I just take a brush like this. It's like a powder kabuki brush type of thing. Dip in and apply. So do you see how it applies to my skin? You wouldn't think that it would apply and match my skin tone almost. Okay, so before I forget, I do also need to set my under eyes. I like to get one of these weird looking brushes and then dip it into my setting powder. So this is the Bake and Block Banana Deep Powder by Revolution, and you can see I have hit pan. So it's always good to just smooth over your under eyes before you set the concealer, otherwise you're going to end up setting the crease as well. And I do have like creased under eyes just naturally. And I'll just use this to set my highlighted areas as well. Okay, so I think next I will do my brows just to get them out of the way. I do them at any point in this routine, to be honest, but a really affordable brow pencil that I use is my Primark brow pencil. It's double-ended. It has a spoolie and a typical pencil that you need to sharpen, and I just like to fill in my brows lightly. I did recently have my brows tinted, and the effects have more or less lasted, but they're not as filled in as they used to be. When I first tinted them myself, I did a video on it and I'll link that as well. The skin in between the lashes, the skin between my brow hairs were also tinted, but I had a feeling they wouldn't last, and they didn't. But my actual brow hairs are a bit more obvious than they used to be, so I might just have to quickly do my brows. Or maybe I'll just do one. So this is pretty much what I do most days. Okay, so my brows are done, or they're getting done. They'll be finished in a bit. I'm actually filming another video so on these particular brows, so I'm trying something else, like a different trick to them. But right now, what I'm going to do next is, what should I do next? I'm trying to remember what I did the last time I did this routine. So what I'm going to do next is, okay, so I'm going to apply my blusher. And the blusher I've been using most these days is my Nip and Fab blusher palette, and this is the Bright 2 blushed palette. There's two versions of this. So this version is more dark skin friendly. So I'm just gonna get this massive blusher brush from the brand Technique, and today I'm gonna use these two shades. You do need to go in with the light hand. Actually, I forgot I needed to actually set my entire face. So I'm gonna go with my trusty Coty S-Bond powder in the shade Translucent Extra Coverage, and just quickly dust that all over my face, because the Hydro Matte powder is meant to be a hydrating powder, if that makes sense. So it's not supposed to give you that typical dry finish, but because of my oily skin, I like to keep my skin a bit more of a natural / matte finish. So I'm just going to set that's done. Then I need to go in with my blusher. Okay, so blush is on, and then next, sometimes I don't contour my face, because I do know like bronzing is like all the rage now. A lot of people are opting more for bronzing than contouring and bronzing. So I think I will leave my face looking the way it is right now. So the last bit of powder, I feel like I've used like a ton of powder, so I've used two different types of powders. An overall face translucent setting powder for my whole face, and then I go over everything with a light layer of my finishing powder. It has a slight bit of iridescence to it, similar to I guess a max skin finish, and this gives me an airbrushed finish to my whole face. I try not to go too heavy. So once this is all set with the setting spray, everything will look airbrushed and flawless. Well, so she says. Okay, so in the time that it's taken me to charge up my phone, free some space on my SD card, I corrupted one of the clips, or not I corrupted, one of the clips that I've just filmed was corrupted. And I think it was this one when I was actually applying my highlighter. So I'm gonna do it again just for the sake of showing you. So this is the Barry M Baked Dry Blend highlighter, and like I mentioned previously in my corrupted clip, I said that it was a very, very pigmented highlighter. I did a video on it which I will link in the cards, and it is very, very pigmented. So I'm just going to take a small dab just so you can see. So as you can see, I already have highlighter. Oopsie, I've done it again. I already have highlighter on my cheekbones. And as I was trying to explain, I normally try to keep the highlighter in this area of my face because that's the highest part of my cheekbones. My cheekbones are very short, I want to say, so there's no point bringing it all the way down to this part of my face because this is naturally the highest point in my face, and all I'm trying to do with the highlighter is to mimic that, so that when it does catch the light, that area is highlighted as it would be normally. So that's my Barrier Tri-Baked highlighter, which I really do like. I did a video on it a while back and I think I've only used it like twice, but it's only because I'm actually intimidated by this highlighter. It is so pigmented that you really do need a very light hand, and it's also very softly pressed as well, so I feel like if I drop it, like, it's over unless I try to smush it back in the container. So it really is really nice. It is definitely brown skin, black skin friendly. And if you've noticed a difference in the lighting, it's because the sun is going down because it's taken so long to charge my phone, and I've had to also change the settings on this camera recording app. I realized I was taking up a lot of space recording with the wrong resolution, like a really high resolution, and it was like double the capacity that it normally would be. So anywho, I've decided to just quickly top up this part of my cheeks just so you can just so I can get a bit more coverage. I'm going to use the shade Caramel. Sometimes I do use it, sometimes I don't. It's a bit more of a warm tone shade. I have also applied my lip gloss, which I hope wasn't in the clip that I lost, but these two products are what I used on my lips. I have my NYX lip pencil in the shade Coffee, and I have my Kiko Hydro Gloss 3D Hydro Lip Gloss in the shade 21. So these two are what I used, and then I went over it with my brown eyebrow pencil because I couldn't be bothered to get up. So I have my Maybelline Falsies Lash Lift Mascara, and I have my Essence Volume Boost Lash Primer. And this is what they look like. I'm just going to go straight in with my Maybelline False Lift Mascara. Okay, so I have had to change my settings again. The last thing I need to apply to my face after powder, blush, highlight, and the works is my setting spray, and I love Revolution's setting sprays. I have a bunch of them. This is just one I grab every now and then. This is the Revolution Pro Supreme Hold Finishing Spray, and it gives me a really good finish. The mist could be finer, but it's a really good decent mist, and this dries down pretty quickly. It's again because it is alcohol, it's alcohol based. It's like most setting sprays. It's a good spray that keeps my face matte for a good amount of time. So yeah, so this is my finished face. Yeah, hope you like this look. It is possible to achieve full coverage with powder. Obviously I needed a concealer with this, but if you do have a full coverage powder like the MAC, what's it called, you know, the MAC powder that everybody used to love. I used to love it ages ago when I was a lot younger, but now I tend to lean more towards the affordable powders. But yeah, that powder, the MAC powder, Studio Fix, that's what it's called, the MAC Studio Fix powder, that will definitely give you full coverage. But yeah, so if you wanted to achieve full coverage and you did think it was possible without foundation, it definitely is, and your skin will still look great if you apply it in the right way as well. So this obviously doesn't look cakey. It looks full coverage but natural. In fact, it looks even better in real life, and I just hope it's picking up on camera. Yeah, so it looks really good. I have set my face as well. Setting your face definitely helps with a powder foundation routine. You definitely want to set your face. It's either that or just wait for your natural oils to come through, and when that does happen, your face will look naturally blurred, but it definitely helps to set your face. And it also helps to use a primer as well. So don't just assume because it's powder you can just go straight in onto your skin. You definitely want to have a smooth base. And also if you're older, if you have, you know, wrinkles or things like that, you definitely want to apply a primer before you apply your powder. I would definitely say that. Yeah, I've never had any issues with this particular routine. The only thing is, I know like sometimes my some liquid foundations I have do last longer than this powder routine that I have. But yeah, it just depends on the day really. But I do like this because it can be quick. I know I have been talking and this video will probably end up being like 30 years long, but normally when I apply this routine, it's about 15 minutes including brows. It's about 15 minutes. Like when I don't stop and I'm just like going from one product to another, it's about 10-15 minutes really. 10 minutes without brows, 15 minutes with brows. So yeah, and speaking of brows, How do you like my brows today? I did it without cleaning up. I'm so happy with myself. I didn't clean up with any concealer with this brow that you see, which I didn't think was possible in this day and age. Like, I can't remember the last time I did my brows like properly when I intended to, without cleaning my brows. Like, when I want to do my brows to just go to the high street or to go to the corner shop, that's fine. I don't need to clean up my brows. It's just whatever. But like, to actually take my time and do my brows without cleaning up, it hasn't happened in a long while. So yeah, I'm really happy with this. I will have a video about this brow routine that I actually have done as well coming up. So yeah, if you like this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Comment down below, let me know what you think, and let me know if you'll be trying it as well. So, you know, you definitely don't need liquid foundation to do your full face to get, you know, full coverage as well. So this is quite a good level of coverage for me, and it looks natural, more natural than it would if you were wearing liquid foundation. So yeah, so if you like this video, please don't forget to like it, thumbs up, share with your friends, and I will see you in my next video. Stay blessed, have a great morning, afternoon, evening, or night, wherever you are, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.